Hello, people. I wanted to say that there is a difference. No, 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 no. We know that there's a difference in a word and a word spelling. But I think that we have miscommunication about segregation and integration. Segregation, integration. Miseducation. And I think that not so much about the history of the word, but having a thorough understanding, like writing out the pros and the cons. Where was integration, the word integration applied? How was it used in a sentence? How was it used in a format? The same thing with integration. How was integration being used as a word in a sentence? And how and where was it applied? But I'm learning right now that it's not what we think. Okay? It's not what we think. I think that we have been played into a lot of we've been played into a form of this chick. It's a chick thing. But yet somebody else is gonna sit there and play it all into it with us. Please, for those people who take on an interest with these kind of things, integration and segregation, write the pros and cons. When was it applied? How was the used word? How was the word used? Because it's been used or we've been misapplying it. Okay? I don't know if that makes any sense. Inter Segre. Inter Segre. Anyway, I'm gonna do another video on my day a little bit more light. Just know the truth. Anyway, say this what it is, right? Integration, segregation. Integration, segregation. Understand there's a difference. We have people who do study words, but don't go so deep, like, oh, way over there. Like, well, the origin of the word and all that other kind of stuff. But how was it used and applied? And you, as United States government and other, not theologies, even though you can use theology, philosophies, for some of these documents and legislation, proclamations, stuff like that. Economics and those law books. And then understanding that when we start talking about the book of life, and here it is, the book of death, of the scroll, and all other kind of stuff. Boy, I tell you the God honest truth. What? I guess we could get upset, but we're just gonna laugh this one off, okay? And we're gonna just laugh with it, or just laugh out loud. I was like, I don't know. I do want to say this. Um, there was a time where people were saying to go to another place, and then you had people who were actively suggesting to go to another place. And I wanted to say that we've had people. Matter of fact, I was like, wow, how many generations, in regards to the family tree, or hear my conversation about family. Then it would be knowing where you were born, knowing your parents, et cetera, et cetera. Where did they live? And I was like, okay, in regards to, generation being here in California, and then some people coming from other places, and then some people saying that they had some affiliation with another state. Then we have people who in their affiliation with other countries. Now, I also had said that I thought that these people who want to use Spanish, that is the human right now is looking like it's a human rights, maybe employment law situation, because I remember, or not remember, but I will note that when Western Union was making a lot of money, there was a lot of people who were sending money to South and Central America, really Mexico. I mean, a lot of people were putting money, sending money and stuff to their family. So for us to go back and forth about a language, if you're going to an employer and they're telling you that they think you need to know how to speak Spanish, this is how a lot of the jobs were occupied. Now that means that there's a new cycle of different people, because ESL classes um was what was optional for people who wanted to go to school, but the thing was is that it was almost like it was mandatory. Okay, so now if we look at, let's just say there's like 4 or 5 generations or plus who were under this ESL. And for the United States, I mean, they still offer ESL classes. So when I was traveling other places, I was like, do you think that they offer Spanish classes in other countries? So I said, well, it would be it would be SSL. Well, Espanol would be ESL, because it would be Espanol in their country, wherever country that it was. So it wouldn't be Spanish, it'd be Espanol. But I the thing is that the thought that the employer is asking that person be just know how to speak Spanish, or be bilingual, then that means that it's ostracizing us as American people, where the first language is English, from actually being employed, or being qualified for something. I mean, somebody could take something, and even if it's an extra few dollars, get it transcribed. But now, if you're like, okay, well, listen, we want to be able to speak to these different people in such a way, and then we have not been, and we're being missed out on, let's say, education, or just the free opportunities to learn another language, because they didn't have to pay for it to speak English. But as I was looking at a few of those, looking at Indeed and Monster, a lot of the employment that's here, my thought, after looking at so many of them, that we do have people of color that speak Spanish, but then it was like, wow, that means that a new cycle of people who are coming in, and then them getting an opportunity to kind of thumb down, here it is, opportunities of employment using language. You know what I'm saying? So if we were looking at, um, let's just say, even advertisement during the time that the advertisement was really really big, in as it related to um, promoting for, it wasn't because we didn't really have a whole lot of commercials that were black. We had we There was just regular commercials, but they were wanting to advertise the commercials in Spanish. So a lot of so that they were able to get the Spanish dollar. So even if we were looking at us being here and it would say black and white. Now this stuff not making any sense when a lot of people was already speaking Spanish here. I mean, we have people who were speaking Spanish. So that means that now, it's like it's pushing it down. I understand now what some people are saying, but it ain't so much the people as much as it is that they're openly discriminating against the person because they don't speak another language. And so anyway, I went to the store, and when I went to the store, um, what was it? And well, I'll come back to it. But yeah, I had went to the store, and the person who was in line, I was waiting on them, but the man said, "Hey, is there any ice? Hey, is there any ice?" And so I think that when people are misinterpreting what somebody is saying, that now you become ostracized. Okay? So when you're becoming ostracized and miscommunication and what somebody is not understanding what you're conveying or saying or your action, then what happens is that you it can be a conflict of interest, right? So the man said, Helio. The man said, I don't know nothing about no Helio. Ice. You understand? Okay. Um, so the language, oh, something else. Oh yeah, I do have this thought. Like, what is the complaint? No, like seriously, what's the issues? When I think about that other thing, I will put it on two. If this wasn't all I had to say. Okay, people. TTYL. Think.